Some of the best partnerships in the last few years have been as a result of Sino-British collaboration. Look at the Neo EP9, look at MG in the last few years who have really boomed. Now Geely are back in the game again, not with Lotus but with LEVC, or the London Electric Vehicle Company, the maker of the famous London black cab, and they brought out this, the L380. So let's find out what this car, or this van, or this MPV is all about. My name is Elliot. Welcome to the L380. Holy smokes, Batman, this thing is a beast. Now, I've only got about 40 minutes to show you around this car today, and at the time of filming, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't have the price, but VoiceOver Elliot is going to give us the price just now. The price was announced at between $48,000 and $62,000 US. Thank you, VoiceOver Elliot. He seems like a thoroughly nice chap. Now let's get on with this very quick review of the L380. LEVC, or the London Electric Vehicle Company, are essentially the maker of the London black cab, the famous iconic black cab. And it was one of Geely's first acquisitions about 20 years ago now. And at the time, no one had heard of Geely. But here we are 20 years later, everyone knows who Geely are. And now they've invested massively into this, the L380, and a new production plant in Yiwu in China. Now the team behind this are still based in the UK, in Coventry. They're the ones who've designed this car. So it's going to be really interesting to see what comes out in that Sino-British collaboration, and if this is just a commercial vehicle for taxi fleets, or can it fit a family as well? Let's find out. We're not going to get past the size, so let's just cover that off straight away. It's 5.3 meters long, it's 2 meters wide, and the wheelbase is over 3 meters, but that's to fit in all of those passengers on the inside. Now they've gone quite calm with the design. It's nothing too extravagant over the top. Now, there's a couple of things I noticed in the press release, which was 50 pages long, about some of the design features of this that I just want to pick up on. First of all, the headlights are inspired by peanuts. I don't really care what they're inspired by, I just want them to light the road in front of me. The wheels down here, these are 18 inches, perfect for comfort, don't need massive alloy wheels. What I want to point out down here is the door. Now this has the largest or the widest opening door in its class at 890 millimeters. This door will open the largest space of any vehicle in this class. As you can see, we're going to be sitting in there out of the rain in just a few minutes. And there's one more feature I just want to show you round the back here. It's these peacock lights. Now I actually quite like this. It's kind of a little bit Geely, a little bit Lynk & Co. You can see kind of these elevated patterns in here. But I really like how simplistic this back is. Very slab-sided down here. And we're going to get a doggy coming to visit us as well. Now, one of the big compromises with MPVs is if they have that third row, then you kind of lose the luggage space. Not so in this. I mean, when you've got 5.3 meters to play with, it means you've also got a pretty big boot to play with. Now I can ditch the umbrella because I can actually stand underneath here. Now in here, look at this, is proper space, and if you fold down the seats, you get over 1,000 litres of boot space. Now this one is showing you just how big that luggage load is. There's 11 suitcases in here. These two are 28-inch suitcases. These ones are the smaller 20, 24-inch suitcases. 9 of those, 2 of those. This is the 4-seater version because they've removed all of the back seats in order to put their very expensive racing bikes in the back. You can fit 3 or 4 racing bikes in the back without them bumping into each other. I know someone who loves biking who would absolutely love this. They also work for Geely. Just before we start talking about the specs of this car and the battery, just look at this gap here. How cool is that? It's kind of lowered itself on its air suspension for that sleek look. I love how kind of cool that looks. Anyway, in here is your charging. Now, underneath this car is a CATL Kirin battery. That's the super battery from CATL. It's got an energy density of 200 watt hours per kilogram, which is getting very close to that massive high density battery of 500 watt hours per kilogram. So this comes with 825 kilometers of CLTC range. Battery pack is 140 kilowatt hour size. So pretty big battery, but then this thing, well, wafted us from Shanghai to Wuzhen in an hour and a half and still got well over half the battery left. DC AC charging here, making it a breeze to charge, fast charging also included as part of the Kirin battery. Now let's be honest, the experience of driving this is less important. It's all about the experience in the back of this MPV. But I'm going to drive it, I'm going to tell you what it's all about, what it's like to drive, and I can say it feels like a normal electric car, which is much smaller than this. Now, of course, this has plenty of power. In fact, it almost has too much power. To 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds, which seems unimaginable when you see the size of this thing. It's got 2 electric motors, one at the front, one at the rear, giving 400 kilowatts of power and over 680 Newton meters of torque. All very impressive statistics. I have to say, this driving position reminds me of driving a Transit, a Ford Transit. You're quite high up, you've got great visibility, except in the back of my Transit, I've got 4 luxury sofas for my passengers. That's the biggest difference. Now, at this point, it's important to mention that this is based on SOA, or Space Orientated Architecture, the chassis, the platform from Geely, which is very modular and can allow for larger vehicle sizes. The only problem is that this car weighs close to 3,600 kilograms. I think one of the big benefits of this car, or this MPV, is that it's got the CDC suspensions, which means it really flattens out any bumps in the road, giving that feeling of kind of like that aeroplane on the road, the L380 land, A380 aeroplane, land plane, whatever you want to call it. But it does make the whole experience feel much, much better. Like, that's my overall impression of this car. It just feels like a normal electric car. Now, it's not going to blow you away in terms of driving dynamics, but it's scored very highly on things like the Moose test. I have to be honest, after spending more than about 10 minutes in this car, I'm finding the brown interior a bit overwhelming. There's a bit too much of this kind of tan brown around me. But anyway, there's features in here, you know, for a driver, are not outstanding because it's all about the experience in the back, but it does have some nice features. Now, most of the controls for driving are around here. Up, down drive modes on here, your indicators and everything over here. Good sized steering wheel, no stupid yoke, nothing like that. Really good looking kind of dashboard, very clear, heads up display, Yamaha speakers. Now, I do have a button down here, which is usually for the drive modes in this kind of awful crystalline design. And that is to control your music. Fine, it takes up a lot of space. I would probably put air conditioning buttons down there, maybe. I've got some of my chargers down here, I've got my outlet down here, and then I've got space in here, which is quite useful for putting your phone and not playing with it. Another good thing though is underneath here is the fridge, so I think 7.1 litres, and it can chill your drinks or your food well, for as long as the battery lasts, which is a very long time. The screen itself, this is not outstanding, and this is still pre-production at the moment. It is very responsive, it's very clear. I think the UI UX could be a little bit cleaner. It seems a little bit 5 years ago. I think this could be updated slightly. It does have the voice controls, yeah, very easy to use, but I would like some of these as buttons, and I would like this to be slightly updated to really reflect kind of the modernness of the rest of the vehicle. Anyway, overall though, as a driver, I'm more than comfortable. As I step into the massive aperture here, it's quite a big step up. Obviously the battery is hidden underneath the car. I'm going to compare this to the Zeekr 009 because that's another Geely product and it's an MPV like this, but this is on a kind of different level. Now in the 009, the seats were extremely comfortable. That was like maximum luxury. These are probably about 90% of the way there. I think 10% slight comfort missing. First of all is this massive panoramic roof, which is 2.18 square meters in size. It's also got cameras. Camera is up here and in the front as standard. So if this is a Uber car or Uber Premier or Uber Deluxe or something in the future, then it has this for safety features as well. In terms of the seat, I've got my table here. I push the button down, table. This is a little bit flawed because this material is called something called, what's it called? Aniline, more eco-friendly than Napa leather. This is too slippery. So if you're driving along and you accelerate and you've got your laptop here, it goes whee and slides off and slides off. I would think about changing the material on there to make it a bit more grippy and probably a bit more easier to clean. But all of these fixtures and fittings are metal. So really premium, very nice, and feels extremely good quality. You've got lots of different configurations of the car basically, and there are different seat configurations, and 4, 5, 6, and even an 8-seater, which is this one, which has got 3 rows in the back. But the most interesting thing is what happens at the back. It can be tipped upside down like this and you can sit on it. And then you can look at the beach and the wonderful view outside. So this 8-seater really is for the family, but then if you don't need this part, you just lift it back up. Oh, and it folds away. Like, Didn't think that would happen. Then you've got your luggage space back, or you fold it up and you can have it as seats. In this edition, you can do yoga in the back. It is that big that you've got a full yoga mat and you can do yoga as demonstrated here. I've never seen this in a car in my life. Insane.
This is also quite nice.
Whoa, what is that? Now this one behind me is very special because it's been customized to a customer's taste. It's in this resplendent two-tone color, but then if you come with me, it's basically got one love seat on the inside. Look at that. And a massive, whatever inch screen that is over there. And an umbrella, just like a Rolls Royce. I mean, this is insane. This is a car on the road, but it feels like a first-class airline lounge. I mean, it's so ostentatious. It's ridiculous. Other thing I want to talk about is here. This kind of looks like you've got a phone here, and I think it must be based on an Android system, but I can control everything from here. I can control the screen, I can control the lighting, I can control the door, I can control I control my heating, cooling. Seats are fully ventilated, they're massage seats, they go up and down. There's so much packed in here for passengers that there just isn't enough time to talk about it. But I mean, I can play with any of these features now, and this is very responsive, very quick to respond, and so easy. Buttons down here to control my seat as I go into the proper laying back mode. Now this is what the Chinese automakers are very good at, is making these seats like this. I could go to sleep in this, watching a movie. Oh, talk about movies. This car has, I think they said 9 screens. 9 screens and 12 charging points. I mean, why do you need 12 charging points? It's amazing. And if you are watching a movie, it plays the same movie on all the screens at the same time. It's incredible. So I've got a screen there in front of me, screen there in front of that passenger, screen in the front, I've got my screens here. It's just on another level of insanity. But let's go into the third row, because that's where some of the compromises are always made in these MPVs. I wish I could stay here for a bit longer and enjoy my life of luxury. Now this is always the compromise space, the third row, like the afterthought of MPVs. Like they think about the middle row, like making that the most luxurious, the most fantastic space to be. But then if you're stuck in the back, it's kind of a bit crap. Not in this though. They've actually thought about what it's going to be like for the third row, and these are just as luxurious as the row in front of me, and you can properly lay down in these seats. It's got a footrest and I can go back, and it's really quite good. Now there isn't so much techie features in here. I don't have a screen in here at the moment. You can probably get a version with a screen in, but the one we have today doesn't have that. Now, the only one thing I do slightly complain about is this window is a little bit high, a little bit too small, but not that big an issue when you've got a massive glass roof, which is covered with rain today. There's a lot of brown material in here. I would say there's a compromise. But the other good thing is that all these seats have ISOFIX. So if you do have 4 children who are under the age of 5, you can get 4 baby seats in here. Not compromised at all. Could they make it 10% better? Absolutely. I wish it just had a TV screen. It had exactly the same kind of phone controls in here. Maybe you can specify that. We don't know at the moment at time of filming, but yeah, very comfortable. I'm constantly surprised at what Chinese automakers are coming up with next. And this is a perfect case of that. The London Electric Vehicle Company, the maker of the black cab, has come up with this. So what's next in their arsenal? What's next in their product range? This is such a good, compelling passenger vehicle, like not only for families, but for taxi fleets as well. You will definitely be seeing this on the streets of the UK and Europe in the next few years. And I think this is going to be wildly popular.